Now, let's put everything that we've learned together by doing a live switch of a webinar where we stream to Facebook and Zoom and bring in PowerPoint with some titles and graphics. To begin our webinar, we need to add a couple of inputs. So I'm going to start by adding our camera input. So I click Add Input, go to my cameras, and I'm going to add my webcam, which automatically shows up here in Program Out. And then we also need to add our PowerPoint presentation. And in this case, I'm running the PowerPoint presentation on the same laptop that I'm doing vMix with. And we could run the PowerPoint on a separate laptop or other computer, and we could run it full screen and capture it that way. That's the ideal way of doing it. But in the Road Warrior scenario, we only have one laptop, and we're running PowerPoint just kind of beside vMix. So I've loaded up vMix Desktop Capture, which is able to capture all of the windows. I'm going to go to Add Input and then NDI Desktop Capture, and then I will select OpenOffice here as our input. OpenOffice is just like PowerPoint, and that's what I'm using in this case. The only issue here is if you look at the input, it's got all of the other parts of the image that we don't want. And this wouldn't be a case if we were running it full screen. So we need to make some changes to this to make it work. And I'm going to go to the gear icon, and I'm going to just make some small changes by cropping out the parts that I don't want. That's not going to take me very long to do. And then I'm also going to zoom and scale it so that it takes up the whole screen. So now we can do a basic switch. I can talk about what hi, I'm Eric Pratt. Here's the PowerPoint presentation. We're going to be talking about a couple of different slides today, and cut back. Here's some more of me. But I also want to do a kind of over the shoulder, and we could do that using an overlay. We could configure an overlay to just bring up this as an over the shoulder, but I find it's easier if we just create an input, which is just this camera and that PowerPoint over the shoulder. So to do that, I'm going to right click on my camera here, and I'm going to say create virtual input. So I've just made a copy of this, but in this one, I'm going to add our PowerPoint over the shoulder. So now I've got a shot of me, I've got a shot of the PowerPoint, and I've got a shot of my PowerPoint over the shoulder. So you can see both of us at the same time. And the last thing we need to do is we need to add a title. I'm going to go in, create a title, select just an off-the-shelf template for ease. There's a lot of other options out there for titling, but for this demo, we're just going to go with this, and we can bring that up as a lower third. So here, I'm Eric Pratt. We're going to talk about my PowerPoint presentation today and how to do a basic switch in vMix. So the next parts of this, we're going to connect this up to Zoom and Facebook. So to connect this to Zoom, we're going to launch Zoom as a window here, and you can see it. And if I go into settings and go to video, you can see that it's got color bars, which is not helpful to us at all. And the reason why is even though it's set to vMix video, we've got all these other outputs here, but vMix video is the one that I want, we haven't told vMix to output yet. And that's this button down here, which is external. As soon as I click that, vMix begins broadcasting to Zoom. So Zoom is now hooked up. My video output is going to Zoom from vMix. So whatever I put on Zoom is what's going live. So if I take away my title, it goes away. So that's how we configure it to connect to Zoom. At that point, you just start your presentation. I'm going to minimize this because it's covering up my PowerPoint presentation. And then the next thing that we need to do is we need to connect this to Facebook. So there are a number of different ways of connecting to Facebook. And we've already done the hard part of this. If you go to schedule a live stream and allow it to connect to your camera, we are actually already outputting vMix. So by turning on the external, I'll just turn it off for a second so you can see what it looks like before turning it off. I guess it's just holding that image. It should show you the color bars. So turning it back on, there, I'm back. So this is method one of connecting to Facebook, which is using the external method and pretending like vMix is a camera. It's super easy. The other way of doing this is via Connect. So I click Connect, and Facebook gives me an URL and a stream key, and then I can schedule this. So I can say, when do I want to have this live stream, which I find scheduled streams are great to promote, let people know when you're going to be on. And this information, we add that into the streaming section of vMix. So in here, I just copy and paste my stream key, and I click Start, and I begin broadcasting to Facebook. So Facebook says, I'm getting ready to take this stream, and it takes it a couple seconds to buffer, and then we're live. And then the third way of doing that is, instead of using this, I'm going to stop this. Instead of using this custom RTMP server, which requires you to enter the URL and the stream key, you can just go down to Facebook and enter in your Facebook information and connect it to multiple different pages. It's the API way of doing things. The advantage of doing it via the custom RTMP server is that you can also stream to YouTube at the same time, because using the Facebook API, using this method, they don't allow you to stream to multiple destinations. So technically, even probably streaming to Zoom at the same time is against their rules. But that is a simple way of hosting your own webinar with PowerPoint and connecting to Zoom and Facebook all at the same time using vMix.